Okay, we're streaming. Should be streaming. Okay. Copy video URL. Stream. Okay, that should show up. Don't know if this link is. Yep, worked first time. Okay, let's get some music going. I'm very quiet. Okay. I think we've got. I think we've got things working. Okay, so let's edit this from unlisted to public. Save. And damn. All right. So that's running. Wow, I've done 2 seconds of. I've done 2 seconds of footage. get things. Oh. I'll change the thumbnail in a minute. Face. There we go. More illumination on Deckard's face. And I think that's gonna be it. Thumbnail. Change. Seriously? Did it change to TIFF? Find JPEG. Seriously? Why is it? How is that one? I don't. File is bigger than 2 megabytes. You know what? I got my phone here. Let me just freaking. There. Okay, there it is. I'll just go to 'Yes, I'm wasting time, I know. You know what? I'll put this over here. This guy. No. More. No. So now. There's. .9 megabytes. There we go. Save. Now there's a new thumbnail. Unfortunately, the test shots just blew up in fucking size for some reason. I should really stop swearing. Okay. So, over here, let's get the audio. Let's get the audio going. So, can we give a okay. We're on 41. That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay. Half of this. Half of this. Okay. So this is some. I'm gonna get rid of the word interstellar because it's huge. Because it's huge. And I need to be cutting down. I need to remember to go through my script and give it like a verbosity pass before I give it to my voice actors, because I'm animating at 24 frames per second. This audio thing that I'm editing right now, that I'm cutting apart right now, is like 2 minutes long or something like that. So I did the math. That's about 2,800. That's about 2,800 frames. So Okay, I think Bigwig starts there. So this entire section. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. I'm going to get rid of the word interstellar. Just completely cut it out. Because I don't want to spend 20 fucking frames on the same damn word. That sounds pretty natural. Okay. Okay. So this is for later, but we can cut that section out. That's another. I'm trying to cut out dead air because dead air is hard to animate because what are you supposed to have the character do? You know? So we need to go to like frame 84 from 41. No, 181. Okay. That's a lot of frames. 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 184 minus 41. You do the math. That's a lot of frames. Again, I didn't take the time to really edit this down, and I'm paying for it now. To really edit this, I just, I fed it through a blue tack off of Deckard's boots, because more than likely I'm gonna want him. I'm not gonna want him freestanding for this. You never want your figures freestanding because they will fall over and make your life miserable. But I do want. I have a solution over here for that. But I don't want him stuck to the floor. So I have an alternative solution that I might be employing today. So I think what I'm gonna want him to do is he's standing over here, right? So I want him to turn and look at Morgan, and I want him to, like, of course his elbow's not working with me because I painted it instead of dyeing it, and a lot of live and learn. And I want him to raise his arm, you know, gesturing at the, you can't really see it. You couldn't really see that, but I want him to gesture. I want him to raise his arm, you know, gesturing at the storage drive as he talks. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him do this sort of gesture again when he asks how Morgan got it. But that what I might have him do is I might have him swing out like this when he's talking about bigwigs. I might have him do that. Again, not a very. I talked about this in a previous stream, but like the Cobb Vanth Black Series figure is very. Actually, I think it was my first stream, but the Cobb Vanth's Black Series figure is very stiff and not very easy to pose, and very easy to manipulate. Especially in a situation like this where you don't have a lot of leverage. So, question is, how do I have him just standing here, and is that enough for him to, like, twist into? I think it might be. I want at least one of his feet freestanding so they can. But I might get away. I might be able to get away with using blue tack. But if I can't, I bought this. It's well, it's in pieces, but it's one of those. Like, it's one of those, like, you know, soldering assistant tools. And so what I'll do is I'll take one of these grippers here. And I don't think that's big enough to get around Deckard's ankle. But what I'll do, what I'll try to do anyway, is I'll have it, you know, attached like over here. Might have to I have to put it on the side. How am I gonna do this? To move the set forward, which would disrupt my lighting. Which would not be good, but again, we're experimenting, we're learning. Might just have to there, I think now it can if we like move it forward, it can do, and that's probably a bit too far forward, but what I'll try to do is have it grab onto Deckard's ankle under the. Remember what I was saying last time about cheating the position of your it's not perfect, but that's how I'll. Although I should probably have him. Captain Glad. This front leg. Then he can sort of twist more naturally. Yeah. That might be a bit involved. That was my original plan. But I was originally planning on doing a very complex movement with Deckard. I was going to have him kneel down and like let me free Deckard from this crazy thing real quick. But I was originally going to have him like kneel down at a certain point in the scene. I was going to have him put like a comforting hand. She's not really in the position for it, but neither is Deckard, really. Yeah. I think I actually used a text shot where he was doing that. Yeah. Like this. I was going to have him put a hand on Morgan's shoulder at some point in the scene. And so I was going to use this monster to that's the reverse. So I was going to use this monster to facilitate that. I don't actually know if I'm still going to do that, because there's not a lot of space in this set, and Deckard, like can't really do. I mean, you kind of can. Kneeling is a very complex movement, and so it's a very complex movement that would require the figure to be off balance for part of it. That would require the figure to be off balance for some of it. And so I bought this thing to hold on to Deckard and keep him upright for those scenes. That's not very stable. Maybe. I'd have to figure it out how I would attach Deckard to this thing. But not for this scene. I think for this scene, if I just put blue tack. I think for this scene, if I just put some blue tack on, say, his right foot, should be fine. But, yeah, we shall see. We will see. We will see. Let's get this nice big wad of blue tack and split it apart again. We shall see. I might have to get out the soldering arm. For this, but I think put him just attach him because this scene he's gonna be standing pretty much the whole time. There's not gonna be any of that complex, he's not gonna be going up and down or anything like that. So but say we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames for the head turn. Oh. I don't know. Well, nobody's really watching the stream at this point, and I'm hungry, so, and I miss clicking things. So I'm gonna Oh, you're not going to be able to hear the music. Okay. Leave that off. I'm going to go take a snack break. Just giving y'all something more interesting to look at. I'll be back. Somebody still here? Cool. Alright. Cool. Yeah, we're gonna go for it. See how it goes. First frame, and it's doing that weird distortion thing. Okay. Is it? Yep. It's the force of me setting the. I see what's going on. The table isn't quite quite stable. That's what we're seeing. Well, I'll just have to be careful. And with that, I'll leave that off for now. Actually, what happens if I... we're gonna leave the note card. We're gonna leave the note card in place because I like that better. I like that better. I'm gonna... Alright, this is what I remember what I said about Black Series figures being kind of stiff. That's what I'm talking about. You can't really get yeah, the head turns first. Can't really get well, I'm pulling it off here fairly well. Oh, still got loop on. Okay, wait for the distortions to... Yeah, the table I'm animating on, I suspect it's not deployed all the way, and so yeah, there's not much I can do about that. the cloth jacket rippling. I mean, your clothes move with you, so when you move, so I'm not too worried about it. But the table that I'm animating on, I suspect it isn't fully deployed, and so that makes it unstable. It's almost, but not quite small enough to fit into its current location. Oh. Yeah. Could raise it higher up. But that would require taking all of this stuff that's currently on it off. And that's a pain in the ass. So I'm just gonna leave it where it is. And I'm gonna keep kicking ass. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Huh. There's somebody. Hi. I'm working on the next bit of dialogue. Not this far. Yeah, and unfortunately, the sort of clothes, the ripple of his clothes is something that I can't really. I can't really. Oh, hello. We've got two people. Well, three people. I'm currently watching my own stream so that I can monitor the chat while I animate, because I can't both look at Dragonframe and the chat on my laptop at the same time. So that's the workaround. My phone's, speaking of my phone is mostly charged, so I'm gonna carefully remove my phone charger from this giant rat's nest of cables. Throw it out there. So, yep. There's a part of me that feels like it's... Oh. Okay. Feels like it's too fast. Then again, it is, 24 frames per second. Yeah. And like, if we go down to 15, it just looks... Yeah. Wow. You can do 15, you can do 25, 29, or 30, but you can't do 20. That's... Oh, wait. You can do custom. Okay. Let's see how that looks. I'll stick to 24. I want to get better at doing 24. I want to get better at doing 24. And I won't do that by animating at 20. Ooh. There's that distortion again. Let's wait. Another couple frames of Deckard turning his head. I'm not doing too bad a job with this head turn. Yeah. I'm gonna fix the color correction issues in post. So it'll all look consistent. Looking pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. start twisting his body, but not that much. Not that much. No. Untwist. And that's still too much. Twist. Hi. And elbows slightly. That's it. His elbows are really stiff. That. Okay. I think it's time to bring the Robo Voices back. Mm. Okay. Yeah, that's more. The arm is still moving a little bit too abruptly, like his forearm, but like that's one of the weaknesses of these. Well, this is a terrible example. He's got a very loose forearm. Here's one. Yeah. Yeah. Not very easy to move the forearms of a lot of these Black Series figures. I might have to do... Getting him back into position would be challenging. But would be challenging. I'm wondering if it would be advantageous to take Deckard's coat off and like hit his elbow joints with a hairdryer for a couple seconds, loosen them up. I think that might be worth it. But I would have to ensure that I replace Deckard. That'll work. Alright. I'm gonna hit this guy with a hairdryer. BRB. No. No snack break. Okay. Weird things are happening. So when he's in the, here's Deckard, right? So when he's in the jacket, his arms are all stiff. When I remove the jacket, suddenly no, I just think, I I don't think it's the jacket. I think it's just the way these... Let's try the hairdryer. I'll be back. I'm going to try the hairdryer. Do much. Yeah, didn't really do anything. So, didn't really do anything. So, Hasbro has started doing this thing that I really, it's become something of a pet peeve of mine, where they make their elbow joints flat. They make their elbow and knee joints flat on one end. And so they essentially look... Let me grab the pen here. They essentially look... like this. Or, well, right there. Well, right there. Like this. You know, with this being the peg that, like, the joint rotates on. Yeah. And so, rotating the joint like this is kind of, in small increments, you know, the kind you need for stop motion, becomes really fucking hard because of this point right here. This corner that's created. And so what's happening here is when I move Deckard's arm, it's getting caught on that corner. And it's... See how it pops suddenly? Yeah. That's what I'm fighting right now. So, that is not something I really know how to counteract. It makes... It makes what I'm trying to do somewhat difficult. So, I'm going to erase this off the screen real quick. So let's get Deckard into roughly a similar position that he was in. In the previous frame. This is always interesting because okay. So that's roughly where he was before. Too far that way. We can bring him on the back. Alright. Yeah. We're going with that. We're going with that. We're going with that. Lean. Now he's in too far the other way. Yeah. Arm issue is one I don't know how to solve. Other than just not. And sometimes I wish Black Series figures had double jointed arms because they freaking like here. Here's a double jointed arm figure. They don't have this snapping issue. And so you can do really small movements like that with double jointed figures, or with figures with, say, Figma joints. Much easier than you can with these fucking... than with Black Series figures. Black Series figures are dirt cheap. You can get a lot of them off of places like Mercari for like less than $10. Well, not less than $10, but like $10 to $15. Real easy. You can get entire. In fact, on Mercari, you can sometimes grab an entire, little fire team of like stormtroopers or whatever for like $10 a figure. But they have certain limitations. So working within those limitations is challenging. Yeah, we're getting close to the popping point. Coat is really moving a lot, and I unfortunately can't do much about that. I mean, if you look at older shots, Morgan's, I was having the same issue with Morgan's jacket. So, something I think I'm just gonna have to live with, unfortunately. He's back here, and then he's up here. That's no good. That's no good. That's not good. I'm gonna have to redo that. Okay. Now we're too far forward in the other direction. That's good. Morgan. He's looking that way. He's looking. As nice as this initial head turn is, I think I'm gonna have to start over because he's not looking. Because Deckard is not looking down at Morgan the way he's supposed to. He's supposed to be. He's looking like back this way. He's looking at the wall above her head, and that's not what I wanted. That's disappointing. It is what it is. Maybe I can. Maybe I can salvage some of these. Yeah, because his head starts going back here. I think I can salvage part of this. Okay. No, music's fine. Okay. It's just switching songs. Alright. So we're gonna go back to this frame. So Deckard, we're gonna adjust Deckard's positioning. So go back over. This. Sure. Can we see? Yeah, I can show you all of it from the. Yeah. There. That's basically all the stuff that I did last stream, plus the first few frames from this one that I'm trying to keep, because I really like this head turn, and I wanna keep it. trying to fix that now with this second go. I'm gonna try and keep most of the head turn, but like from this point onward, I'm gonna have him start looking down at Morgan, so that when he's fully turned, he's looking down here at her, because he's supposed to be talking to her. So. That's a bit. We're gonna go with that. Before I start messing with his arm again. Ooh, that's way too much. And thank you. Yeah, that's working. Now, to maintain what we've got, while starting to move this arm. Yeah. Alright. How's my audio coming in, by the way? Because I'm using my new microphone. Excellent. Alright. More, if you can. I think that's going to be the last. Thanks. You can definitely hear me better today. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. just kind of... That's better. Alright. The arm looks a bit better this time. Yeah, we've hit that bend. So the problem that I'm running into, I explained this earlier, but I might as well re-explain it now that you're here. Is that the elbow of the figure, the elbow joint of the figure I used to create I made Deckard out of is shaped like this. So it's curved on the back end, but it's flat on the front, like right here, so that it's, you know, seamless with the rest of the arm when it's extended. This is something new that Hasbro has been doing with their Star Wars figures. They don't do it as much with their Marvel or their G.I. Joe figures, which I actually have one, because their Marvel and their G.I. Joe figures are double jointed. So they're a bit less. So the elbow joints on their Marvel and G.I. Joe figures are kind of like a figure eight or an infinity, where they kind of look... I'm not drawing it very well, but like this, where there's no really hard right angle on them. And so it's a lot easier to move a G.I. Joe or Marvel figure's elbow. Well, it's easier to bend a G.I. Joe or Marvel figure's elbow incrementally the way you need to in stop motion, because it doesn't have this sharp edge. And of course, and then there's Figma, and then there's your import figures like Figma, I think Mafex does double jointed elbows, but Figma, SH Figuarts, they have a ball joint. Their elbow joints are like these like split ball peg joints, where it's a where the joint is a sphere with two pegs that's like cut in half, and the two halves have a peg sticking out of it. So again, it's smooth sailing all the way through the entire, axis of rotation for the entire arm. And so moving it incrementally is a lot easier than with the Star Wars Black Series figures, which have only a single elbow joint, and they have this flat end on their elbow joints, so that the arm is seamless when it's completely straight like this. And so that's what I'm fighting when animating Deckard here. And of course he's unstable and he's shaking, and so today I learned that was a thing. Okay. So that makes it harder for me to do smooth animation with his elbows, because his forearm gets caught on that sharp point. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna be remaking the Deckard character after I graduate college and I have enough time to make to animate my full story. I don't know, and I've bought a second Cobb Vanth figure in order to do that. But I think I might try to get different arms that are easier to animate, but I don't know how or where I'm gonna find those. But we'll see. There's a couple of, I think there's the Dagobah version of Luke might be an option. There's a couple of bare-armed G.I. Joe figures that I might be able to steal arms from that might work, or just ones with long sleeves. I'm probably going to give Deckard better arms when I remake that figure for the full version of my film that I'm gonna make after this. So yeah, but for now we're stuck with this guy. So onward. Be able to, might be able to get away with using the shoulder joint. Yep, I'm into a whole new market. Yep. Alright. So one, two, three, four, five. About five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. Well, not an old. Well, yeah, it might be pretty old. It depends on the, because like, at this point in my universe's timeline, this particular colony has been established with quite some time ago, but it's definitely a cheap, a cheap one. Yep. Thank you. Eh, well, considering this is like 100 years. Well, in universe, this is like 100. This is like 50 or so years out from our present. So I would say that box. I would say that the fad of flat screens died. It came and went because folks wanted more robust, girthier technologies that weren't as prone to breaking in the rougher. Yes, exactly. Tubes rule, and they're a lot easier to fix on your own. The the age of this is the age of DIY repair, where you can't just if your computer breaks, you can't just take it over to the Apple store and have them fix it. You got to be able to do that yourself. So when the age of human extrasolar colonization started, older, simpler, more rugged technologies made a comeback because the people who were moving to these colonies needed to be self-reliant. And so, yeah, that's my in-universe justification for all the old retro tech that I'm going to be using, that I'm going to be showing in this universe. So, the age of Apple is over. The age of the tube TV has returned. Alright. I'm thinking if I can. I'm thinking. Let's go to the audio. And so we're at 55. Okay. I really can't hear. Guess that's a good thing. Okay. So 64 through 69, that's okay. Okay. So the phrase storage drive ends at about frame 69. Yeah. That's interesting. That's cool. Yeah. Okay. So. I'm thinking if we keep his if I keep his arm moving upward for a couple more frames and then move it back down, that might get us at least halfway there, because we're trying to get here. We're trying to get all the way over here, and that's not going to take us. Maybe I need to rotate his elbow a little bit to get the movement I want. Upward. I'm wondering. Yeah, I like that transition better. Too much. don't know if I can get that far. I think I can get to 60. I think I can get 3 more. I think, like, if I move his hand in a circular, maybe what I do is I start moving his hand in like a circular motion. That's too much. Start at 41. Keep going. I can maybe get to 80. Not quite the progress I need to be making, but it's progress. Here's a trick. Yeah.
It's a syringe. It's a syringe.
No, we're only 8 frames away.
It's a syringe. 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 It's a syringe.
I mean, there's also the fact that Deckard's jacket is a size too big for him. Which probably doesn't help with the excess movement.
It's a syringe. 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 It's a syringe.
Deckard's weak ass ankle joints
It's
are not helping.
It's a syringe.
Yeah.
It's a syringe. 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 It's a syringe.
Right on a.
It's a syringe.
Yep, we're right on a peak.
It's a syringe. It's a
Yeah.
syringe. It's a syringe. It's a syringe. It's a syringe.
favorite game of Teeter Tots.
It's a surrender.
Move.
It's a surrender. 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 It's a surrender.
Hmm.
Usually containing usually
Okay.
usually containing the message somebody would once kept confidential. Now you did it. Now you. Now you did it.
Okay. I think that's good.
It's a surrender. 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 It's a surrender.
Alright.
It's a surrender. It's a surrender. It's a surrender.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a huge. That's a huge chunk of dialogue. So that obviously needs to be broken up. A couple that needs to be broken up. So. Pretty in focus. Hmm. This would require. Here's what I'm thinking. I want Deckard to step away from the computer and towards Morgan. Like he's trying to get a better look at the storage drive. Or just because they're conversing now. The thing is that for pretty much all of this, so from frame 41 to frame 68, you can do the math on that if you like. It's about like 30 frames. Just shy of 30. Just shy of 30 frames. I have had Deckard stuck to the floor by a wad of blue tack, stuck to the bottom of his left boot. So, right now, I think you might be able to see it if so the push-in's at 48. If I extend it out, I zoom out, you can see that right now, his left leg, no, have I been saying left leg this entire time? It's his right leg. His right boot has a bunch of blue tack, has like a wad of blue tack like this on it. And that's what's keeping him stuck to my set. What I think I want him to do now is because he's conversing with Morgan about the storage drive, I want him to step forward with his right leg to get closer. His right leg is currently the one stuck to the set with blue tack. That is going to require so in order for him to step forward with his right leg, I would obviously need to attach blue tack. I would need to remove the blue tack from his right leg and attach some to his left. That would require removing him from the set. And, well, putting any figures. With Lego figures, it's a little easier, especially if you're working with a studded, if you're animating them on like a studded base plate. But getting figures back in the position they were previously in is challenging. It's very, very, very challenging. So I would need okay. I am going to do a little experiment. Oops. I'm gonna remove the ceiling of my set. Woo. See my hands now. So spooky. And I'm gonna take this pencil. I'm gonna see if this. Yeah. Yeah. Really don't want to mark my set with a pencil. That might be the best way we have. That might be the best way I have to do this. That might be the best way I have to do this. There's gonna be some light flicker. That's unavoidable. Okay. Let me restore the push in low. Go to eat? It's a pretty big push in.
It's a sunshine. It's a sunshine.
I'm gonna try to. Honestly,
It's a sunshine.
I'll go with that.
It's a sunshine.
So, hmm. Very. It's gonna have to be it. Alright. We're going for it. There's no going back now. Of course, I'd like to. There's no going back now. There's no going back now. We are. Well. Yeah, I guess I could have. Honestly, if I could have figured out a decent way to attach this guy to Deckard. And maybe with a magnet. Hmm. That gives me ideas. That gives me ideas. But first, let's put Deckard back where he belongs. Okay, that's. I feel like that's as close as we're gonna get. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna go away for a few seconds. I want to see something. I have. About 6 millimeters. Diameter. Six millimeters. Okay. Well, good to see you. Alright. I have made a discovery. I'm back, by the way. A friend of me and my brother's stopped by and needed somebody to let him in. So, this is the soldering arm thing, right? The one that I didn't use because the little grabber thing wasn't very good at. I mean, you could. Probably attach it. Yeah, that'd be more secure. I have discovered something. This hole that the little clips slot into, that's 6 millimeters. I'm thinking, approximately, I stick a 6 millimeter magnet, a little 6 millimeter rare earth magnet, down in there, and I glue like a washer to Deckard, and then what I can do is I can set up my thing. long enough. Or at least this arm isn't long enough. Or maybe it's just not close enough. And then, with the magnet in it, okay. Might have to figure that out. But I could attach, let's just use Duke again. Say I glue like a washer or something to his back, to the backs of my figures, and then I put a magnet in this hole, and boom, I could stick them to them. I could stick them to this thing that way. I think it has merit, but that would help with a number of things, because, like, you know how I was, of course I'd have to rotoscope this thing out of every scene I use it in, but you know how I was constantly, rocking Deckard back and forth? Well, that wouldn't be a problem anymore, because Deckard would be supported by a thing connected to his back. By this thing connected to his back. So, alternatively, I could put a screw or something in there, and I could put a hole. I could cut a hole in Deckard's coat and drill a hole into his back, and then slot it on there that way. But that would be fairly destructive. Anyway, moving on. So, the plan now. I think I know what happened. Oh no, it's... Yeah. That's more consistent. Yeah. This is loose. I'm not really gonna have him step forward, because, again, something I actually have. But like his elbows, Deckard only has a single hinge on his knees. And so it's kind of... His knees have pretty much the same problem as his elbows, where they've got that flat side on them. So I'm not going to try and bend his... So... We still... I guess... I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Damn. Yeah. The lighting inconsistency is not something I think I can fix. I want it to be turning this way. I want him to be traveling. Ah, too far. Mm. Mm. Right. Yeah, it gets really dark. And
It's a sunshine. 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 It's a sunshine.
we're just
It's a sunshine. It's a sunshine. It's a sunshine.
keep moving forward. Oh, that's too big.
It's a sunshine. It's a sunshine. It's a sunshine.
Yeah.
It's a orange usual. It's a orange usual. It's a orange usual. It's a orange usual. Usual. Usual.
Oh. Yeah. Gotta be careful of that. Your stable isn't stable. Hit it hard enough. It shakes everything. Although that's probably also because the camera's not very right. Camera stand's cheap as fuck and isn't very stable.
Usual. It's a orange usual. 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 Usually contained. Usual. 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 Usual.
Mm. Now I'm got to be extra careful because I'm fucking around with his offhand. Mm. I feel like this whole section goes by too fast. I need to go all the way back to here. Oh. Yeah, like this. Hmm. Alright.
It's sword and shine.
Hmm. Might have to change the camera angle. But fortunately, it's 6 o'clock. So it's almost 6 o'clock. So I better, yeah, I think I'd better call it here. Thanks to everybody who tuned in for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.